Hello and welcome to the last teacher feature interview of 2014. For the month of December, we are sitting down on the couch in the Buddha Bar with Justin White, who teaches Mellow Vinyasa at Kula on Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. and Friday evenings at 5:30 p.m. What's happening, man?
Living the dream.
Living the dream. No,
One day at a time.
coming out of the dream.
Coming out of the dream. I haven't stopped dreaming since I woke up today.
Nice. Yeah. Well, we just got out of practice and sitting down for a few minutes here. And the purpose of this video, the teacher feature, is just to have a little opportunity for the students that are watching this video to have a chance to get to know you better. And so I thought maybe a good place to start would just be giving people a little bit of your background. I know you really grew up immersed in spiritual teachings and practices, so could you tell everybody a little bit about your upbringing?
My upbringing was crazily, perfectly arranged for me to learn a lot about various practices. Almost unknowingly, but when I was really young, about 4 years old, was the first time I learned transcendental meditation. And I was taught by my mother as a way to help me get through medical issues that I had and dealing with pain and doubt and unsurety and things like that. And she had learned, because my mother used to be a hippie at Antioch College in Washington, D.C., because she's super cool. Shout out to my mom. And she used to guide me through visualizations and meditations for sleep and for managing my different illnesses. And I sort of fell in love with the practice there because it created a safe space where I could feel good. And then over the next few years, I developed and was always surrounded by people that were very spiritually connected or dedicated in many different practices, from Islam to Christianity to Buddhism to secular spiritual practice. And there was just this real thickness to the air and the environment that I grew up in that was always sort of telling me that there was something bigger than me out there, and then it would be really fun to find it. And I've sort of tried to stay on that path since I was a child. When I was about 7 years old, I met who I call my Sifu, or accomplished one. Some say master, it's Chinese, but his name was Alan Daniels, and he was like the coolest guy I'd ever met in my life. And he trained me in Tai Chi and Qigong and some styles of Shala and Kung Fu and some of their older practices. And I was able to study with him for almost a decade before his passing. And he really refined my practice and really opened my mind up to an unlimited space. I remember the first time I was actually introduced to the idea of prana, or chi, in a physical form, and how it worked. As a cocky little kid that liked martial arts and wanted to break boards and meditate, and Tai Chi was very slow, and I asked him why we were doing something, why we were performing a movement, and he asked me to stand in front of him, and he said, "Stand still and watch." And about halfway through his movement, with his palm towards my chest, about 10 inches away, I felt a train run through me, and I hit the floor, and my heart stopped. And the next thing I remember was waking up on the floor and him tapping my jugular and bringing me back into consciousness, and then him just telling me, "Okay, you're done with practice for the day, go sit down and have some water." That was it, and smiling like nothing happened. And that experience was most impressionable because it let me know that there are things that you can't see that can, on a physical level even, move you and put you down on the ground, even with love. Wasn't trying to hurt me, but I asked a question and I definitely got an answer. And from that day forward, I've just been searching to connect with those deeper spaces and cultivate an ability and a practice where I can use my own energy and intentions to help spread good things around the world.
So how does that more specifically inform your approach to teaching yoga?
In me approaching yoga and teaching and communicating, I'm really influenced by how he taught me. And his main principles were loving kindness and great compassion, especially for students. And when I teach now, the only thing I try to hold in mind is creating a space for whoever is practicing to have an experience of themselves that might be beyond what they were expecting. And that doesn't necessarily mean pushing physically the hardest or concentrating the most or floating into handstands. And those were things that I was very, very much in tune with, and working with my body and becoming strong and active and being in control and being able to move energy and really control my nature. And he relaxed that for me and led me to be more lighthearted and less serious, and to bring an aspect of play and curiosity back into what was my practice. And he would always tell me that you could practice all you want, but if you put no play in your practice, you will be very sad.
It's true, right?
Yeah. And for that, I would love to be able to communicate or almost create the same sort of space of compassion, someplace safe where you can come and play and explore yourself without fear of being judged or fear of failing even yourself, but being able to just be happy for the experience that you're having while you're having it. And I feel like that's what really draws me to yoga and a yoga practice, is that state of union that can be achieved in just, even if it's just for a fleeting second, to feel all right in your own skin, in your own vibration. And I feel like that's what my practice in childhood, from my mother teaching me meditation to studying with him and studying Buddhism and just searching for a comfortable feeling inside of my own skin and in my own life. And all of that's led me here to a yoga practice, and I fell in love. So naturally, I quit my job. And I called Chris Eliadis.
It's like, please come to class.
Yes.
That's good.
And I remember asking him, I was like, do you think I'd be a good yoga teacher? And he just laughed. He just told me to come over and we could get some food. And it's just sort of grown exponentially from there, but I still try and stay very rooted in those original teachings of just loving compassion, kindness, creating a space for play and curiosity, for the ability to grow on your own time with no rush and no bar set, but just to grow without an expectation and see where it takes you. So I'm hopefully continuing my journey for a while and growing and seeing where it takes me.
Most definitely. It's so great to hear you talk, man, and I just feel like, you know, you have such a humble spirit. You speak from a really honest place and a transparent place, and just that in and of itself makes your presence a teacher. And, you know, I have no doubt that you'll be doing this for your whole life. You know, I just can't even imagine you doing anything else, and it's such a blessing to everybody that, you know, gets to cross your path. So thank you for being here, Kula.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
man.
much. Namaste.
Definitely. Namaste.